I'm sure we'll see Mourinho back in the Premier League again as well. I'm sure we will. But he shouldn't come back to the Premier League because football's too quick for him now. But in Serie A, if he can do it anywhere, then he can do it in the Premier. If he's going to do it anywhere, he should be able to do it in Serie A because it's a more tactical, slower league, and that should suit Mourinho better. And he had a very good record at Inter, didn't he? So, and I think the Premier League has moved on a lot in 10 years, whereas the Italian league is moving on, but it's still quite similar to what it was when he was there at Inter. When is the AFCON, Patrick? I don't know when the AFCON is. Ryan says, what's the one player you wanted at United that never happened? There's probably a better answer than this, but the first one that came to my mind was probably Ronaldinho because we were very close to getting him and you wonder what would have happened if we'd got him. Yeah. Fungus says, back in 2019, Villa lost 3-0 at Man City and the fans started chanting that Grealish was just a shit Joey Barton. I ain't got a problem with that, though. I haven't got a problem with that. It's like that tweet where I said Varane is shit. Context is key. The reality is that rivalry, it's like Sancho versus Grealish, okay? I spoke about this a little bit on United Stand last night, but I'm sure a lot of you weren't watching, so that's fine. Who's better, Grealish or Sancho? Reality is, I probably have said Grealish is better than Sancho at some point in the last 4 months, and there may well be a tweet there, right? But at what point does rivalry kick in? If Grealish goes to City and Man United buy Manchester United, my loyalty is with Sancho, and Sancho is therefore better than Grealish because that's club rivalry. If Man City are beating Villa 3-0 and Man City fans start chanting he's just a shit Joey Barton, doesn't mean that they can't now say he's a great signing because so much of that is about club rivalry and banter and opinion changes as well. So, you know, there's no issue with that at all. And as for that Varane is shit thing, let me just say, if you've seen the tweet where I said Varane is shit, that was from the Super League at half-time when Varane had made a mistake to let City score. So it's a defender who's let my biggest rival score, well, one of my biggest rivals score, and it's a tweet within a game. There's no context with Varane being one of the best centre-backs in the world and a great signing for United. It's a tweet about a moment in a game. It's not a definitive statement, but people do that. It's like what we were talking about Clash of Creators. It becomes a definitive statement that somebody makes a mistake, so let's ruin them. And that's one of the things I hate about social media and modern society. It's like, you know, these people who go back and you know, like these cricketers it's happened with and other people where they go and dig these tweets out from when they were like 14 and then hold it against them when they're in their 20s. It's like the world has not learnt yet to disassociate itself with things that happened years ago that might not be in context, but you know, that's the world. It's a cancel culture, isn't it? Cancel culture. So who do you think will get sacked first? That is something I probably can do that I wouldn't include in my Premier League predictions. Who do I think will get sacked first? I suppose Arteta could be gone by Christmas. I don't think he will be, but if it goes wrong, it's a defining season for him. Ollie's got to be included in that. Surely Ollie's got to be included in that. Yeah, I think Ollie won't get... Well, I can't say that because you can get clipped. I don't think Ollie will get the sack. I think it's impossible to fail. I think it'd be very hard for him to win the league, and I hope he does win the league, but I certainly think top four is nailed on, and if he's in the top four, United don't sack managers. So, but Ollie, it could go wrong. It could go wrong for Arteta. It could go wrong for Nuno. It's never going to go wrong for Klopp enough. It's never going to go wrong for Pep or Tuchel. Benitez could have a bad run, you know. Hasenhüttl, I think Southampton are normally quite good with, but look, at the end of the day, the trouble with Southampton is they are capable of going on bad runs, and I suppose this is the season where if he went on another bad run, they'd probably get rid of him. So yeah, I think that's my selection of managers there. Maybe Steve Bruce, yeah. But I was thinking more of big clubs, really. Bailey to Aston Villa, here we go. I like Leon Bailey. He was linked to United a few years ago. I'd like to see him in the Prem. It's when I was a kid, I suppose. Leon Bailey. So, yeah, I don't know how old Leon Bailey is now. Let's have a quick look. I mean, age isn't everything, unless he's 42, in which case that's a bad buy. Leon Bailey, he is a Jamaican footballer. Yeah, I don't know how many caps he's got for Jamaica. There was talk of him, remember, was it before the Euros? There was this weird rumour that he was going to go and play for England, which obviously never happened. So he's still only 23. He's going to be 24 actually next week. 119 games for Bayer Leverkusen. Obviously played for Genk as well. I like him. I think he's a good player. I think he's a very good player, and I think it's a very good signing for somebody like Aston Villa, because if he was going to Arsenal or he's going to Manchester United, then people are going to go, ooh, Leon Bailey to Manchester United, and the pressure's probably a little bit different than what it is at Villa. He's a perfect signing for Villa, and we were talking about this a little while ago. Ollie Watkins, Matty Cash, Martinez in goal. Now they've brought Leon Bailey in. Obviously, I think Grealish will go. It'd be crazy not to go. I understand why Grealish would go, but Leon Bailey probably replaces Grealish because he can play. I think Leon Bailey, is he a right-footed left winger or is he a left-footed right winger? He normally plays. I think Leon Bailey does play off the right or that way. He plays off the right or the left. He can play either way, really. And if he flops at Villa. But if he does really well, the pressure's not really there for him when he goes to Villa. So I'm impressed by that signing by Aston Villa. I think he'll do well, and I think it's another good bit of business by Aston Villa. They brought Bendia in as well, so they basically replaced Grealish with Bendia and Leon Bailey. And to be fair to Villa, I mean, Jack Grealish is, I think, one of the best players in the Premier League. Get £100 million for him, get Leon Bailey and Bendia in. It's not bad business. You can't replace Jack Grealish. You know, he's too good to replace. But as replacements go, Leon Bailey and Bendia are right up Aston Villa's street. They are right up their street. Bendia has played in the Premier League and is a very good creator. Leon Bailey is a player that I think a lot of big teams have looked at and haven't quite gone for it. As I said, I remember Leon Bailey being linked to United when he was at Genk, 5 years ago. So it's a good signing. It's a sort of Leicester signing. I think Leon Bailey is a sort of Leicester signing. So, and look how many signings those have worked out. So, I think it's a good signing. Apparently, they've had a bid rejected for James Ward-Prowse. If I was Ward-Prowse, I'd go Villa. I would go Villa if I was Ward-Prowse, and I think it'd be a good signing for Villa, and I think it'd be a good bit of business for Southampton. But I think Villa will buy more players now. They've got money, and I think they will go and buy some more players. But Leon Bailey to Villa, it's not a surprise. It's not out of the blue, but it has been confirmed by Fabrizio Romano in the last few minutes that Leon Bailey is a done deal for Aston Villa, and that is a good bit of business for Aston Villa, without a shadow of a doubt. Very good bit of business. What are people saying in the chat? He's a left-footed left winger, says Rhino. Bendia, Watkins and Leon Bailey. You had him in your Villa career mode in FIFA 20, says Brooklyn. Oh yeah, I did actually. Thoughts on Dwight McNeil to Everton, says Jake. I tell you what, Dwight McNeil, good player as well. I like Dwight McNeil. In fact, very similar to Leon Bailey. Not in the fact that they're similar players, but if Villa had bought Dwight McNeil, I'd be saying the same sort of thing. And look, Dwight McNeil's only 21. He's only 21. He's younger than a lot of people think. He's not 22 until November. He seems to have been around for a long time. I think he'd be a very good signing for a Villa or an Everton or maybe even a Spurs. He's that sort of a player. He's ready to, with all due respect, take a step up from Burnley. So Dwight McNeil, 21. A lot of people don't realise how young he is. I think it'd be a good signing. Do you think Benitez will succeed at Everton, says D Fresh? I think Everton, what a manager they had with Ancelotti. I mean, he's now managing Real Madrid. That's the pedigree of Ancelotti. And Everton were boxing way above their weight with Ancelotti. Ancelotti is such a good coach. And I was very interested in what Everton did under Ancelotti. And unfortunately, the project never really got going because he went after a year. But in Benitez, they've probably bought in as good as a manager that they can. The worst thing Everton could have done was go and get, a Martinez from Belgium back or something like that. Benitez is the right sort of coach for Everton. I don't know whether it'll work. It's very difficult I think it's very difficult for. I mean, look, I'm doing a FIFA career mode of Everton on this channel. You can check it out. Please give us a follow. But it's very difficult when you're managing an Everton or an Aston Villa, because they are clubs that are quite wealthy and they are clubs that are looking to join the top 6, 7 party. But the problem with Everton and Villa is that when you play United, Liverpool, Chelsea, City, you're expected to lose because they're bigger clubs. But then when you're playing Burnley and Newcastle, they fancy their chances against you as well. Like Newcastle and Burnley play different against Everton than the way they do play against a United or a Liverpool, because they're the big boys and they expect that, they're almost a bit submissive at times. But when they play Everton, they're like, we fancy our chances. It's the same with West Ham. West Ham had a great season last year, but everybody would fancy their chances against West Ham, whether it's Brighton, whether it's Liverpool. So it's very difficult to do well with an Everton or a West Ham or a Villa, because everyone fancies their chances against you. So consistency is very hard because everyone goes at you, which is why West Ham did so well last season. I know, Haha Brian says you should know a lot about losing against Burnley. I haven't played Burnley in my FIFA career mode yet. I'm looking forward to it. So make sure you give us a follow. Thoughts on Vieira and Palace, says Easy Name. Difficult job. Difficult. And we were talking about this, about the first managerial casualty. Not everybody can be successful. Vieira can't be successful at Palace. Benitez can't be successful at Everton. Dean Jones can't be successful at Villa. Moyes at West Ham. The top 4 clubs, Arteta, Nuno, they can't all be successful, because if you take all those clubs, you've just described the top 12. Bielsa at Leeds, teams and consistency is hard. So I think it's going to be a very interesting season. But having said that, I do think that the top 4 picks itself. You got United, City, Chelsea, Liverpool. Top 4 pick itself, and the excitement is what order they will be in. That's the top 4. You've then got Leeds, Everton, West Ham, Arsenal, Spurs, Villa between 4th and 10th. Can Southampton, can Wolves, can anybody else break into that? That to me is where it's interesting. So yeah, interesting. Dean Smith. I knew Dean Jones. I knew it was a common name.